right, top of the morning, everyone. You got the Aired Out podcast. We're looking at sunshine and a little bit of frost on the pumpkin this morning. Actually, a lot of frost on the pumpkin. 26 degrees. We're going to have some sun, some clouds. It's all going to be in the mix today. Not seeing any, real snow in the valley floors, but we're watching and we're listening to Roger Hill every day, and we're paying attention. It is definitely time to get the snow tires on. Live from Fly on the Wall Productions, Barry, Vermont. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. We're streamed everywhere you get your podcasts, and we're on the web at airedoutVT.com. Want to first tell you that we're gonna give you kind of a mixed bag this morning. Maiz is going to be joining us at around 9:30. There's a big Day of the Dead celebration. Rooted Entertainment Solutions is behind it. It's coming up on Friday. We're going to tell you all about it. He'll be joining us live on the line this morning, which I'm so excited about. Can't wait to meet this guy. Can't believe that it is already November 1st, and it kind of feels like it. Dan Molind is with us in the studio this morning. Good morning, pal. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Man, I got to say, yesterday, you and I got a chance to sit down for a couple of hours. I've been waiting a couple of years to sit down for a couple of hours with Dan Molind. And Chris Autry's like, good luck trying to pin that fella down. But it was so nice to be able to sit and chew the fat with you yesterday about real stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for your time. I also want to say that I often, when I have time alone in the car, I often will get the music going, turn it up, and enjoy my ride home. Yesterday, when I left our discussion, when you and I had a chance to chat, I was, I don't know, the music was off, the car was quiet, and I drove about a half an hour home, just consumed with a lot of the big takeaway points from our conversation yesterday, which really profoundly impacted me. And I said to myself, how can I possibly convey some of what we dove into? How can I convey that on the air? And I almost wish that we had a live microphone during some of that conversation yesterday. Sure. It was really impactful what you had to say. I want to start with, let's get the basics down about the Hope Coalition, what it is, who you are. I want you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
What you've done for our community since this flood. Take it away.
Yeah, those are big questions. I'm Pastor Dan. Most people know me by Pastor Dan. I'm the pastor over at Enough Ministries, and we have a church community that is concerned about the homeless, addicted, and hungry in our community, and we've had clothing closet and soup kitchen and food pantry and those kinds of ministries reach out for the overlooked in our community, and so that's been a blessing to do that. On the side, I've been involved with Southern Baptist Disaster Relief for a number of years, and I was actually the New England director for Southern Baptist Disaster Relief. So on the morning of the flood, the disaster came to us. I didn't have to go to where the disaster was in this particular case. And we responded right away. We were able to contact units, in Georgia and Florida and all over to come to Barry, to come to Rutland, and other locations throughout the state. And actually, we deployed into New Hampshire and to Massachusetts as well, as they had some flooding damage as well. I was plotting it on the map the other day, and basically every state east of the Mississippi came to New England to help out with the flood recovery effort. It's amazing, what we were able to mobilize in really a short period of time in order to just do the immediate response, the flood response immediately. But now we're sort of in a longer phase, which is really, instead of flood response, flood recovery.
Recovery,
right?
Yeah.
What are we going to do to help, Vermonters, Central Vermonters, be able to recover, get their lives back, get their homes back, be able to go back to work, all those kinds of things are super important. And there's a lot of people that are just overwhelmed with that. So we started a long-term recovery group. That's a FEMA term, but it's used throughout the United States as a mechanism to rally people and organizations together in order to respond to the flood needs of local residents, and to see how that we can come around them and support their needs to recovery. So we've been busy doing that. We've had teams come in from Canada. We've had teams come in from New York. Chris Autry's team came in from North Carolina. We just had a team that left from South Carolina. So I think on the good news side, we've completed around 25 homes so far. They have heat this winter. They have, insulation back in. They've got sheetrock on the walls. And we're super excited about that. But we're also super concerned because as we have 25 that are done, we also have a growing list of over 100 right now. Probably is going to grow to around 200 of fellow Vermonters who do not have any heat. And I walk around town, and a lot of the places you're going into the store or whatever, and just like the homeless, addicted, and hungry, it becomes background noise, and we don't see our neighbors that are really hurting. We don't see our neighbors that are heating their houses with propane space heaters or electric space heaters or whatever, fighting against the elements because they don't have any insulation in the walls or whatever. Some places don't have power, don't have water, and everything gets more complicated as winter arrives. And so we've got a huge task in front of us, and we have to look on how we can mobilize people outside the state. Yes, great if we can get folks from outside to come in, but we also need fellow Vermonters to reach down and start helping out each other as well, and coming around to support these families that need help.
Well, we're going to kind of outline precisely how you need help from area Vermonters
Sure.
in what categories and what departments. But I got to say, I've been in touch with you over the last couple of months and saying, hey, our studio is being rebuilt on North Main Street in Barrie. Once we get it open and up and running, we'll have you in, Dan, and so on and so forth. After my conversation with you, or during my conversation with you yesterday, I was like, we can't wait for that. We need to do this sooner. So can we get you over to Raylene's house and get you on the air ASAP? And you were like, how about tomorrow morning? So, I mean, we're so blessed to have you here. To get this message on, which really you can't wait. It's super important. One of the big takeaways that you and I had yesterday was the muckouts for the most part, are complete. The mud is off the roads. The traffic cones are down. The barricades are, for the most part, down. There's so many of us that are walking around with this mindset of the flood is over, we're back to normal, or we're getting back to normal, and things we're on the upswing, and things are going very, very well. But what we're not seeing is the and hearing are the stories of what's happening behind the walls of people's homes who, as you said yesterday, people are going to work, they're working all day, they're coming home, they're walking into their home, and they've got sheetrock to do, they've got a ton of work to do, electrical, ceiling tiles. I mean, the list goes on, and they're working another 8 or so hours every day, 7 days a week. I mean, there's people that are really, really struggling here and filling out paperwork. And share with us what you said to me yesterday, what you saw from these working folks, paperwork laying around, and just life is chaotic right now.
Yeah, I think it's super hard. People have been struggling for months now to rebuild their homes. I mean, we know that even before this incident happened, there was a lack of contractor support. I mean, if you were going out to get your furnace tuned up for winter, you had to wait. There was a big waiting list. Well, now people need their entire systems replaced. Sure. And there's just not enough capacity in the system to allow for that. So, unfortunately, it's the same thing. Plumbers, electricians, all the trades are short here. We definitely need to encourage people to go into those kinds of skilled areas for the long term. But in the short term, it's created a situation where, we'll go to do an assessment of a house, and you walk in, and the homeowner, it's like deer in the headlights. They're just paralyzed. They just don't know what to do. They've been struggling the end of the summer into fall with trying to get their house together. We know that Vermonters are super stoic and are like, we're going to find a way, we're going to make it work, and resilient and whatnot. And they're just, plotting along.
Sure.
But they're getting to the point where, man, it's super, super cold in here, and there's not a lot that I can do. I just don't have the skills. And, we see piles of stuff in the houses. There's building supplies. There's stuff that, the owners are trying to dry out from the flood. There's trash. There's paperwork. Receipts. Yeah, paperwork for all these applications and everything that they're doing. There's, their personal living stuff. It's all sort of co-mixed together, and it's overwhelming for contractors to come in, or anybody to come in, because the place is difficult to move around in. But that's
trying
all
to live there too. They're trying to live there at the same time, sleep there, eat there.
Yeah, storage space is at a premium. Almost nobody has any more storage space at any of these rental units, because they're all full of stuff that people have moved there, so they don't have any alternative but to store stuff in the downstairs and try to live upstairs. Sure. Or whatever. And they're heating their kids' spaces with propane heaters and kerosene heaters and whatnot. Here's just a little PSA on that deal.
Yes.
I've talked to Vermont Department of Fire Safety, and folks, if you're in that kind of situation, if you're heating with alternative fuels, not vented kinds of things, man, get a CO2 detector.
Sure. At the absolute least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know you guys are super overwhelmed with everything else that is going on, but it's super important for your health, for your kids' health, that we have good CO2 detectors. We're working with Vermont Department of Fire Safety to collect a bunch of CO2 detectors that we would be able to distribute to flood-affected families so that they would be able to put those up and be safe, at least while they're trying to keep their places warm. But, typically folks are just overwhelmed trying to do everything they've been doing. They've been going to their regular jobs 8 hours a day, coming back working 8 hours a day. And, not all of them are handymen, and, they're plotting along doing the best they can. And so, our effort has been to try to come alongside of them, determine the level of damage, help them out with applications and, all the processes. There's a number of different state programs that are out there, which are fantastic. But, if you lost your computer, if you don't have electricity in your house, all those things affect your ability to be able to do that stuff. Even advocating for yourself has become a challenge just because you're so overwhelmed with trying to fix your house. So having some caseworkers to help you navigate and fill out and complete and check on and all that kind of stuff, I think is going to be super helpful for helping people get back on their feet following the flood. So, yeah, some really sad, sort of situations that we're seeing as we're going in and assessing, homes and stuff in Vermont.
I want you to take us inside the Seventh-day Adventist Church right now to the Hope Coalition. Everyone, let's just say this, okay? Everyone knows where Dunkin' Donuts is on the Barre Montpelier Road. Right, basically across the street from it is Vine Street. If you turn onto Vine Street and you head up maybe, a quarter of a mile, you're going to see this sign that you're looking at on your screen right now. It's up there. So have a look at your phone or your tablet or whatever you're watching or listening to the Aired Out podcast. That's what you're going to see right there. The Seventh-day Adventist sign, and right underneath it, Hope Coalition. I'm going to share some of the photographs that I took yesterday live with our viewers right now, but tell us what this is.
Yeah, so we were incredibly blessed to be able to work in cooperation. There's 18 other organizations that are working with us presently, and we're inviting other organizations to come in and help with the effort to come around flood-affected people in central Vermont. But certainly one of those big partners has been the Seventh-day Adventist Church up on Vine Street. And they had a school there, which was Central Vermont Academy back in the day. My daughter went there. It was a very fine school, and she got a great education there. And we had used that facility during the flood to house some of the teams that were coming up. Team Rubicon and others actually stayed there. We were able to get them lodging there and a place to eat and operate from. And so the school has been transformed into the Hope Coalition headquarters. And the public-facing piece of that is the resource center that's up there, that's open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And we have over $500,000 worth of donated supplies and stuff in the gymnasium there. It operates, I don't know, you have some pictures there.
I sure do.
2/3 of the gym is full of products that we would like to get into the hands of flood-affected families. So you can go up there and collect those donated goods. We also have clothing up there, and in working in cooperation with the Vermont Food Bank, some really great partners of ours. We also have food up there, so fresh vegetables, shelf life, long shelf life kind of stable stuff up there, as well as frozen meats and stuff, and people can come up during those hours and get that. If there happens to be city and town government folks on board. We on Fridays we're doing deliveries out to the various towns, so we can deliver those items out to the towns. Leahy Press, another great helping organization, has given us use of one of their trucks to be able to bring stuff out to local towns so that they can have some of these goods and services available for them in their local town hall or local church or whatever kind of space is available there. The other thing that we have available there is from 8 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. We have case managers, case workers that are available to help people navigate the various systems. We can help you understand what kinds of programs you might be qualified for, and help you sort through all the paperwork and get the necessary documentation you need. We're soon going to have an IA, an individual assistance officer from FEMA that'll be working there also to help with any kinds of FEMA kind of related issues, applications, what do they call that? The reexamination of your homes or whatever, reassessments for your homes. Yeah. Reassessments for your homes and all that kind of stuff. We can help out with that.
But you're looking for folks to volunteer to be assessors and case managers, right?
Yeah. So right now we have I would call it an extreme need. We have some volunteers that are on staff already and helping out, but there's a large caseload there. So we are actively trying to recruit people who would be interested in doing case work. In other words, assisting flood-affected families with navigating all those systems and programs and opportunities and whatnot to get restored. So we're looking for people to do that. We have a big training on November 7th where we're going to be training folks in disaster case management. So interested in talking to folks that are interested in volunteering for that.
Wow.
And additionally, we've got a lot of homes to assess. We have probably 100 homes right now that need to be assessed that we haven't been able to get to yet. We have a small crew of assessors that are working mightily on the list, but people who are handymen, folks that have been contractors or former contractors, folks who have been home inspectors, those kinds of folks that understand home systems. We have a really good checklist that will ask the pertinent questions of homeowners to understand better how they might apply for these different opportunities that are there, whether it's a new heating system or electrical help or well help or septic help or whatever. There's a lot of different programs by a lot of different organizations, and they all have different applications and parameters. And so we want to try to help people through that process, but we need assessors to go out to look at places so that we can better understand exactly what the needs are out there. So for both of those, I would point people to our website, which is Hope Coalition, all one word, hopecoalition.net.
Yeah, we've got it right on the screen right here. But that's it right there. Wow. And thank God for you guys. And thank God for the Adventist Community Services. And just all of you. Enough Ministries is not some little tiny church in one little building somewhere.
Yeah, obviously, we hope to be able to reach our community and help people who really need, the whole hope, right? How do we provide hope for our community? And I think it's so important that we reach out effectively to those that are in the most need. especially after the flood, and let them know that there is provision for them, that there are people out there that care about them, that there are opportunities that the state and federal government have brought up, and that they're still loved and that we still care about them.
This is a tall order here. You've got tremendous amount of work in front of you, and how you're doing it every day, Dan, 7 days a week. I'm not really entirely sure, but you're also reaching out to service organizations and saying, please join our team, link up with us, help us out in whatever capacity you can.
Yeah, absolutely. This task is too big for any one organization. Even for the entire faith community, it's too big of a thing. So, we desperately need, the Lions, the Elks, the American Legion, the VFW, all kinds of service organizations, whatever it might be, to join us in coalition to help address these needs. And, whether it's a weekend at a time that they can provide some help and support, or week service, or maybe even longer, whatever it happens to be, we want to talk to you. We want to understand what you might have for volunteers, and what kinds of capacities that they have, and really mobilize our community to help these people who have been devastated, by the flood.
And we're anticipating around 200 homes in the Barry, Montpelier area, that were Washington County, that are without heat.
So, we're prioritizing, obviously homes and stuff. We know of around 200 homes right now that don't have heat. And, this morning, I think we're all waking up a little chilly. There's some people who are waking up in central Vermont that are a lot chilly.
Sure.
We're part of what we're distributing at the resource center is emergency blankets,
Sure.
So that people can stay warm. And we're super concerned about those. There is 3,000 something cases that FEMA has recorded in central Vermont of folks that have requested assistance from FEMA. So
how many?
3,000. So 3,000 cases in central Vermont that we know of where people have requested assistance. And, some of those people have fixed their issues, or, got flood insurance or other kinds of means, and that they may have self-recovered, and that's great. But, there's always those folks that, we're having a tough time making ends meet before, and this has just put them in a much more difficult situation. We already know we have a huge, we're first in the nation for homeless population. I
forgot about that. You mentioned that to me yesterday.
Yeah. So we are number one per capita. We have more homeless people per capita than California does, which I think a lot of people think is the most, homeless state. But it's Vermont now. And, we don't want to add to that number all these homeowners, all these people who are working and everything else. But they're on the verge. They're on the verge of not being able to stay in their homes. And so we need to sort of pull out all the stops that we can, and find ways that we can help them get their places restored, so that they can live in their places, continue to work at Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's and all the other kinds of places that they work, and are vital pieces of our economy, and in spite of their home situation, have still been going to work and doing stuff. So
absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing what you're doing, Dan. I can't say enough about it. Great work, yeoman's work, man. And we appreciate you so much. I want to see if we can connect in. Maiz, are you there? What's going on, buddy? Are you with us? Maiz, are you with us? Oh, I think we've lost him. But anyway, can you? And we're going to be talking about that Day of the Dead show that they're doing on Friday night. An awful lot here on Aired Out in the coming days. It's coming up Friday, so you were telling me that the stats are amazing right now, and that the state is dropping more and more cases on the lap of Enough Ministries, Hope Coalition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about dumping is the right word, but they're sharing.
Okay.
They have
generously.
Yeah, they have become aware through the service providers, whether that be electric or gas or whatever, of homes that are in need, and so that's been a great service to help us sort of prioritize those homes that are in the greatest need, the families that are most vulnerable right now because they don't have heat. If you don't have heat, you can't stay in your home this year.
Sure.
And, we're quickly getting to the point where even, heating your house with a space heater or whatever is going to be increasingly difficult, especially if you don't have insulation in the wall. So, we're seeing elderly people and disabled people and single parents and whatnot that are really struggling to be able to rise to the occasion and help themselves in this situation. And as a community, I feel we're obligated, right, to get out there and to help those people who can't help themselves. And
you had one of the big takeaways for me yesterday was something that you said to me, Dan. You were like, basically in times of crisis, during this flood and the aftermath and the weeks and the months afterwards and all of the residual effects of this, there are many people who are very tempted to say, all right, enough's enough. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going somewhere where the grass might be greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Where life is simpler, where life is warmer, so on and so forth. And that we have a state with an aging population.
Yeah.
We have a state with a huge homeless population. We have a state with a big disabled population.
Yeah.
And that aren't going anywhere.
Right.
And that we have a choice to pull up stakes and set sail, or hunker down, because first and foremost, you said, my wife and I, we're missionaries. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here because we're needed here.
Yeah.
There's part of this that's, and let's be honest, there's part of this that's God's calling to you to stay put, that you're needed here. But aside from that, in addition to that, there's also just the non-religious humanitarian, let's call it like it is. We need good people to stay put and to help out.
That's right.
That was probably one of the biggest takeaways for me yesterday in chatting with you.
Yeah. I think, anybody who's lived in Vermont for any length of time knows living in Vermont can be hard. Taxes are hard. Keep
going. I got my pen here.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all come up with a lot of reasons, that Vermont is difficult. But, I would like to encourage people to, let's not take the easy way out. Let's not just decide, hey, let's go south. Let's go to a place that has less taxes or whatever it happens to be. I happen to be a retired military. Vermont is one of the few states that does tax your military retirement. So I could easily go to another state and gain probably 10% on my income just by moving to another state. But I feel strongly that it's a responsibility, right?
Yep.
Not to abandon those that are in need and to dig in, right? To gut it out. And how do we come around people who are in need, and to be able to sacrifice a little bit in order to bring some hope to others, to shine the light of Christ in others' lives. And so, I just would encourage people that, retirement doesn't need to be just golf games and hanging out with the buddies and doing stuff. That the community still very much needs you. If you're a retired contractor or something like that, we need you. There is still some great work that you can do. And I have found personally, I get a greater reward out of helping people without getting paid than I ever did when I was getting paid.
Wow.
So I think
wow,
there's some real opportunity for people to dig in and help out.
You're willing to train people who can assist with assessing homes. You're willing to train home inspectors. You're also asking for people who are licensed home inspectors to jump on board here, get involved, to help out. You're asking for contractors. You're asking for case managers too. You already have a case management office up there, but you're asking for more case managers to come in and get involved. The Resource Center is open Tuesday and Wednesday. I want to make sure I get this right, from 1 to 3.
Right.
And then your case management office is open Monday through Friday. It's 5 days a week from 9 in the morning until 3 p.m. If you don't know, if you know you need help, but you don't know exactly how and where and what or where to begin, or maybe you've had some help, but maybe it's run out and you're still picking up the pieces, please come up and chat with someone. Yeah. At the absolute least, you'll be told, hey, here's some different paths to get on. We're going to point you in the right direction, and the rest is up to you. At minimum, but things are going well. You're on the right road. You're doing well. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Or you'll have a case manager going, whoa, man, I wish we were talking with you, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Let's make up some ground here and help you out and maybe get you on a different path, because this is what we think.
Right. So case management can be, a variety of different things. And some people just need spiritual, emotional support. They need somebody who's checking in on them. How are you doing? And that kind of thing. That's case management, right? And we have some people who would be glad to meet with you, to talk with you, to help you with those kinds of issues. But we also, we've spent a lot of time talking about people with no heat and that kind of thing. And that's certainly something that case management can help with. Get on the list, get an assessor out there, go through the building process that we're managing. But also outside of that, there's a number of different programs that the state has set up and others have set up to support flood-affected families that, maybe food or clothing or other kinds of needed things to get by. And then, also the resources that we have up at our resource center as well. So there's a number of different ways I think that those case management folks can really come around our community and help folks out and help support them in that process of recovery.
So you chatted about the triple M's: money, materials, and manpower. That's what you need for this long-term recovery coalition.
Yeah, so the partner organizations, when we say that we have 18 organizations that are partnered with us, every organization that comes, we ask for one of the three M's. Are you bringing money, manpower, or materials that are going to help folks? So we're really focused on what are you providing, right? What is it that you can help us with to help others? And we're grateful to accept any of those three in collaboration and partnership, and that's good. And we understand that all different organizations have different kinds of rules and different kinds of leadership, and that's great. And that's why it's a coalition,
Right.
A coalition of the willing, if you will, right?
It's a big word. It's a big word, and it is a huge umbrella. Yeah. Where did shown some of these pictures of the gymnasium up there? How much materials came in on how many trucks?
So we had 2 tractor trailer trucks that came from Ohio. There is an organization there called Matthew 25 Ministries.
Yep.
And they work with a number of different, providers, big box stores and whatnot, companies that provide disaster relief materials. And so right after the flood, we reached out to them and said, hey, we've had this devastating flood. What can you send us? And they sent us a huge variety of stuff.
Where did that come from?
Ohio. Yep, Matthew 25 Ministries. They there's duct tape and shipping tape and personal care items.
Keep going.
And there's bug spray and paper towels and toilet paper and cleaning materials and blankets and just about gloves and safety goggles and sandpaper and all sorts of stuff that may be needed in order to help people recover from this disaster. It's an amazing opportunity. In the days immediately after the flood, we were able to work with Bellavance Trucking, who was another huge help during this flood. Many people don't know that Bellavance Trucking donated some of their trucks to use for refrigeration and freezing up on Auditorium Hill so that we could feed people after the flood. We did over 35,000 meals during the flood. So you need a big freezer, right? You need a tractor trailer truck size freezer to do that.
Right.
They were so gracious to donate that, and then later on, we were also able to get donations of Restorex, which is a mold inhibiting product, and brought that up by the tractor trailer truck load and distributed that along with water and other kinds of needed things up on Auditorium Hill right after the flood. And
that stuff's not cheap at all.
Yeah, it's pricey. So, we have been able to leverage, friends and business connections and whatnot to really bring a lot of relief already, but there's still a lot more to be done. We need a lot more help, a lot more local folks involved, a lot more of these community service organizations that are around to join with us in that effort.
My gosh. Tell me about the winter warm-up.
Yeah, so winter warm-up is coming up too. That's a event that they have that is supported by not the Hope Coalition per se, but by Connecting Hope. And Connecting Hope works in the community to provide for a lot of needs as a parachurch organization, does a tremendous job in helping people out. And annually we have a winter warm-up activity where we bring new and used coats and gloves and mittens and hats and ski pants and the whole 9 yards. This year it's going to be at the Elks Club. And I would encourage people who have lost their winter clothing and whatnot in the flood to show up there and clean the place out. We normally fill their main floor full with clothes, and so we want to try to get as much of that out to the community as we possibly can, and that's a great event. I think they're also going to have some food and stuff available for people who are in need of food at that event as well.
And we're showing this on the monitor right now, on the screen right now, if you look at your phone, and it says right there, donations accepted November 9th through the 10th, from 9 to 3, right there at the Barry Elks Lodge. And then the event itself is going to be November 11th, starting at 9 a.m. Only go until noon. So, carve out some time in your calendar to get there. If you'd like to make a donation, or if you need more information, it's right there in front of you, 802-622-4244. Again, 802-622-4244, or Connecting Hope CVT at Gmail.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? I did.
Yeah, I think you got
Actually,
that
I got
right.
something right this morning.
There you go.
Connecting Hope CVT at gmail.com.
Yeah, it's not that early. We're also, for that event, looking especially for people to help us clean up afterwards. So if you can go to the event, get what you need, and help us clean up afterwards, that would be great. A lot of the leftovers, if you will, from that event, if for whatever reason that day doesn't work out for you,
Sure.
we'll have up at the Resource Center following that, so you can stop up on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 1 to 3 and pick that up.
Yeah, what a great space you have up there. You have
It's wonderful.
Plenty of room.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. It's such a blessing.
I want to just take a second and just throw some love at some of the businesses that have, frankly, right on North Main Street, that have stepped up and supported enough ministries and the Hope Coalition. Nelson Hardware is one of them.
Yeah, I didn't know Bob very well before this thing happened, but we approached him soon after this flood, and we said, hey, we've got these teams that are coming up from outside of the state. Can you help us put together a tool trailer so they don't have to lug their tools all the way from North Carolina or South Carolina in order to do this work? And he was like, absolutely. And not just absolutely, but I'll give you a discount too. And, he was hurting too. He lost a huge amount of inventory and was struggling himself to get stuff set up, and spent a lot of time graciously to put stuff together for us and research stuff and get us a good deal on stuff, so that we have a lot of tools and stuff that we can use to help put people's homes back together. So yeah, and I don't know how many homes I've been into so far, but a lot of homes. And as you know, every time you have a fixer-up project, you always have a fixer-up problem. And the people down at Nelson's are just super at helping you figure out whatever it is that you need to figure out to get this thing to work with that thing. So that's been great. The other business that has helped us out tremendously is RK Miles. And, RK Miles is new to our community. They suffered mightily during this thing. Man, they were just devastated with the whole flood and whatnot. And yet they have also come alongside of us and said, hey, what do you need? And how do we work this thing out? And allowed us to establish an account there and to take out of inventory items that we need for the rebuild effort and whatnot. And so They have been super, super gracious to us and super, super helpful. And so I think we all miss the Allens down there, but
Yep.
we're grateful that a new business has moved into town, and they're super conscientious and want to help out the residents and the community of Barry and surrounding areas. And so I'd encourage you to visit either of those businesses, as they've been instrumental really in helping us out with the rebuild effort.
We should also say 297 Vine Street in Berlin, the home of the Hope Coalition, the Long-Term Recovery Coalition, has also been kind of the nerve central for mission teams, providing them. You got a huge kitchen up there. You give them real hearty meals, showers, sleeping accommodations. Not a hot tub quite yet. But I mean,
if it would help, I'd get one.
well, I know, but I mean, everything that you got up there, the accommodations. This really is one centralized location up there. It's amazing.
Yeah. So early on in the flood process, of course, with all the hotels being already consumed with either homeless folks or flood-affected families, we really didn't want the response to overwhelm the ability for people who were local in need of housing and stuff to have to fight with teams that were coming in. And so we undertook a big effort. Trey Cates at Faith Community Church helped us a great deal in handling a lot of the lodging, whether it was at churches or other kinds of places, and really developed a great process for us. So our hope is that we could encourage teams to come up and not have to worry about all the logistics, right? You don't have to worry about having tools. You don't have to worry about where you're going to sleep. You don't have to worry about where you're going to eat or how you're going to find food. We're going to make it super easy.
That's the big price tag right there. Where you're sleeping and food you're eating.
Yeah, yeah. So, get yourself here. We'll help you with all those kinds of things, and we'll even help you out with where you should go and where the materials are and all that kind of stuff, so that teams that come can maximize their time in their contribution of labor, working in families, and often side by side with families, families that are able or putting in that sweat equity as well, and trying to learn from the teams how to do things and restore their own homes.
Someone listening right now that says, I can be a home inspector, I can be an assessor, I can provide some case management, I have those skills, I've got some time that I can volunteer, I'm a contractor, I can donate some materials, some supplies, maybe some money for materials and supplies. I can volunteer my time. I want to do something. I want to give something.
Yeah.
How do they do? How do they pull the trigger on this? Do they call you? What's the best way?
So the best way is the website, and so the website is very craftily designed. There's a get help section to the website. If you need to get help, you can go to that website. It asks for your name, contact information, your address, and a description of what you're looking for. And then that all goes into a database, gets assigned a case number, gets assigned a case manager, and we try to tackle those as they come in. So that's a really great way, because we're not trying to fight through voicemail and understanding what was said or a bad connection or whatever. You can put all your information right on there and get that case started. There's also a give help section. So in the give help section, you can get on there and you can, hey, I want to provide some materials, I want to provide some money, I want to provide whatever, and we're asking for some basic information in there about how you can do that. And then there's a come help section, and in the come help section, hey, I have a team, I want to come up, I want to do some stuff, I want to be an assessor, I want to be whatever. Get on there. leave your information. We'll be in touch with you soon to figure out how we can integrate you into upcoming training and assessments that we have ongoing. And
who's the brainchild of getting this all so perfectly organized like that? Is it Pat? Who is it? Josh Fortier? Who?
So we're blessed that in the coalition we have certainly the executive board that has representatives from a number of the different faith-based communities represented there. But then a larger group of those 18 different organizations, everybody's helping to contribute as they can to making it a little better and a little better every day. That's my
Streamline.
thing. When it's interesting you say streamline, because when we first started, I said, well, this is the deal. We're going to build the airplane as we're flying it.
I have that's a quote. I have it right here in my calendar. We're building the airplane while we're flying it.
Yeah. So a little bit of a scary proposition maybe for some, but the need is so great that we can't help but start helping people as we're improving the organization, as we're bringing more organizations into the coalition, as we're training more assessors, as we're getting more case workers and whatever. We shouldn't be limited by the things that we can't do, but day by day we're getting better, and we've got new things to add, better understanding of programs, and more partners that are coming on board. And certainly everyone is working very hard to see how we can best support and help people in their recovery journey.
And now this is a 501c3. You've got insurance. You've got the Facebook page. You've got the bank account. This is a lot of work, Dan.
Yeah. There's, helping people always involves a lot of little dispergent things that you don't think about, liability insurance and how do you bring in volunteers and, train people and all that kind of stuff. But, there's been a lot of energy going on about how to do all those things and wrestle all those things to the ground. And we've been helped by FEMA and the state of Vermont and others to get going and get supported, and we're hoping that just continues on the same path that it's going on.
Do you feel that the state of Vermont is fully aware of the magnitude of what's still going on, where there's such great need, what's happening behind closed doors? There's so many people that are still struggling.
Yeah, I know just from my conversations with different people that the state of Vermont also has a great deal of urgency and concern. I went to the Wheels for Warmth event this last weekend, which is a great event. I've never been there before. It's amazing. I mean, the number of tires that they saved from going to the dump is amazing. I have to admit, I did go. I was there giving out brochures and talking to people about how we might be able to help them in the flood. But I did find a pair of Hakkapeliitta studded snow tires for my wife with 1 year's.
How much?
$60.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was just incredible. And the governor was there, and I had a few moments to speak with the governor. He's having regular updates by the different department heads in the state about what is going on. I've pushed the test button a couple of times with the state of Vermont on, hey, I need this or that to happen. For one example, we had some out-of-state contractors that were interested in doing work in here, but the state of Vermont didn't have a mechanism to allow out-of-state licensed people to come into the state to work. And I want to say it was 3 days, including the weekend. I think I brought that up on a Friday, and I think by Monday, the state of Vermont had developed a waiver system to allow out-of-state licensed people to come into the state to work under a temporary license for 90 days. That's amazing. I don't know where I've ever seen state government work so fast on an issue. I'm in regular communications with a bunch of folks at the state level that are deeply concerned, especially about these no heat situations and how we can work collaboratively to figure this thing out and to wrestle it to the ground. And so I do think the state is doing a lot.
What about local government? Have you been in touch with local government? Do you feel that they've got a solid grasp on what's still needed, and are they very familiar with what you're doing?
So there's always connections that can be improved and processes that can be improved. I mean, the Hope Coalition is working in 27 different communities. So that's 27 sets of local government when these long-term recovery groups set up in other states like Florida when they have a hurricane. That's typical for long-term recovery groups to set up. But they have sort of county government, which we don't have really in Vermont. And so when they operate in a county, it's much easier for them to get connected with all the dispergent things. But it is a challenge to get together with all these community officials in so many different communities, and all with different building codes and flood codes and all these other kinds of things. So, I would say we still have work to do to connect effectively with all of those towns. And, a lot of them have part-time government and no full-time representatives, but we have been reaching out to the town clerks and their building committees or building code folks and others to try to understand what it is that we can and cannot do in those different towns, so that we're not giving homeowners bad advice on how to proceed. So like I said, there's a lot more work to be done. But we certainly encourage, as part of the coalition, those city and town governments to join with us to figure out how we can best help their constituents.
In the days and the weeks before the flood, you and I were chatting regularly, along with Josh and the rest of your team over at Enough Ministries, right in Barrie, about the crisis that we were dealing with the homeless population and what was happening with the hotels and where all of these people were going to go. And we were kind of dealing with that situation, be it a crisis, and then all of a sudden, Mother Nature sucker punches us with this flood, which didn't just target the homeless population. It went for everyone,
right?
No matter who you are or where you live. It got everyone.
Yeah, I have a little exercise that I do at church when we have mission teams and stuff come in, and that's I give them 3 little blank pieces of paper, and I have them write on the blank pieces of paper, what are your 3 biggest blessings, right? Where has God helped you, and provided you with these 3 big blessings? And some people, they'll write sobriety or my house or my faith or my relationship with my husband or whatever it happens to be. Yeah. So, and then what we do is sort of poker style, you hold that out in front of you, and somebody picks one of those things out of your hand. It's an exercise to see, hey, when you lose one of those 3 huge blessings, how close does that bring you to homelessness? And, that's happened, right? That's happened for a lot of people who were more fortunate in our area. One of those 3 things, maybe their home, maybe their sense of self-accomplishment or security, or maybe even their job because they lost their car, or maybe their job because the business is no longer operating or wasn't operating for several months, or maybe their health because they're living in a home that doesn't have heat. brings us all a little closer to that stage of really being homeless and dependent. And so the purpose of that exercise isn't to develop sympathy for people, it's to develop empathy for people, right? Hey, I'm empathetic with your situation. I have something that could help you in your situation. And I know that, oftentimes we meet somebody who's homeless or somebody who's addicted or hungry or whatever. And it's easy for us to take the judgment line and say it was your bad decisions that left you in this sort of situation. But the reality is sometimes it wasn't, right? It was something that happened to them, something that was imposed on them, a flood, a bad relationship, abuse, it's just so many, a health issue, that all of a sudden you had a health issue, you couldn't make it to your job, you couldn't pay your rent, and all of a sudden you're homeless.
Snowball.
Yeah, it just snowballs. And so, we have to develop good, effective ways for helping people help themselves get back on track. Some people, and I've met quite a few, that are happily homeless, and that's great, man. If you want to be homeless and that's your lifestyle, I say, praise God, and that's great. And we still love you and we're not going to judge you because you decide to be homeless. But there's a lot of people who are homeless. There's almost everybody that I've met who's addicted doesn't want to be addicted. Like nobody wants to live that lifestyle. But they're facing incredibly hard issues to try to get over that. And so how do we help them? As a matter of fact, I met some really great people from the state of Vermont that are working sort of that addiction issue, and provided me some resources I wasn't aware of on how to help people get into some additional capacity for long-term recovery. And so, happy to pass those things along to people that are trying to break the scourge of addiction. But, a lot of those things will hold you down if you allow them to hold you down. But having a caseworker or somebody else that is willing to not be judgmental about your situation and be concerned about you is a huge dose of help for you.
And help you push and pull.
Yeah. Part of any of those processes, and certainly I think any of the homeowners that are going through the flood recovery process, it's a roller coaster ride, Hey, these guys showed up and they helped me get heat, and man, things are great and going well. And then something happens, somebody who said they could help can't help. An electrician said he could come and he couldn't come, or he's delayed or can't get parts or whatever. And it's just a constant roller coaster. People who are struggling with their sobriety, they relapse. And the thing is, it's not about how many times you get pushed down. It's about how many times you stand back up. And so, through the Hope Coalition and others, we're hoping that we can help you stand back up over and over and over again until you're fully recovered and back on your feet. And, I admire people that are able to take the heavy blows and get the setbacks and still crawl back up again and fight. I like fighters.
I know you do. I'll tell you what, man, it's you have made my day chatting with you this morning and doing this. It is truly staggering what we can take for granted in our lives. And when we lose those things, it is also just remarkable how others step up and help us recuperate and get back on track. And you're doing this with the Hope Coalition. Vine Street, right in Barrie. Drive up. You're going to see that sign right there, Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Hope Coalition. Pull in. You don't need an appointment. However, the Resource Center is open Tuesday and Wednesday from 1 to 3. Case Management Office is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. Dan is up there all the time. Obviously, you've seen what he looks like. Go extend a hand, shake his hand, thank him for what he does, offer to help if you can, in whatever capacity you can. And if you need something, they will get it to you immediately. It's remarkable what you're doing. I just
trying digging in, right? That's the whole thing.
As I said to you the last time you were on the air, local media should be tripping over themselves up there. They should be airing out what you're doing. There's the television crews, newspaper, everyone should be giving you guys massive exposure to the difference that you're making in so many lives.
Yeah, and certainly we're I don't really care if they show up or not.
I know that
to that extent. What I do appreciate is people knowing about the resources that are available to them and our ability to help them through that. And so to that extent, I'm grateful for whatever kind of coverage we can get. And obviously for you, JD, and you've been awesome and helping us get on the air and getting the word out to our community.
Well,
super appreciate it.
We're going to be dialed into you guys. We would love to make you guys one of our honorary presenting sponsors here at the podcast, because we love you. We talk about you all the time. We're more than impressed by what you do. We're absolutely blown away by what you guys do, have done, and continue to do. And we're so lucky to have you. And we're going to stay in touch with you, Dan. We're going to follow you. We're going to maybe come down there and throw a microphone in your face down on Vine Street and walk people around and show people what you have going on up there. And we're just, I'm truly blessed to know you. I really am.
Well, thank you, JD. Super appreciate that. And, word of mouth is the deal, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's these efforts like this podcast and all of you that are listening and telling your friends, hey, here's a place you can go to get help. Check out that website, wear it out, and populate that thing. That's a really good way to ensure we get the information that we need to help friends and neighbors. And, it's amazing. I'll just share this. I know we're trying to wrap up here, but a couple of times we've gone down to help people in Barrie who are in need, single parents and whatnot. And I see over and over again, they'll go, hey, I know somebody else who's in more need than me. And so they're self-prioritizing. Go ahead and help somebody else, Yeah. So I'd advise and encourage people that are listening, go and help somebody else. If you need an organization, if you need to know where to go, if you need to know how to help, do you need to know how to get trained to help, come and see us. We'd be really super encouraged to help you do that.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much for coming on this morning, buddy.